All right. Record on this computer. Here we are. Okay. Well, everybody, this is the warm-up phase. Hi, everybody. As you know, I'm Dan Winter, fractalu.com, fractalfield.com, and our co-host is Tufan Guven, geometricmodels.org, and Tufan has our announcements coming up. This is our little warm-up phase. Tonight,
Yeah.
Tonight, our star of the show is our senior programmer, Patrick Botte in Belgium, who will be telling you in detail about our new amazing product line, piezofire.com, piezo and Tesla coil transducers for creating implosive vibrations with beautiful centripetal pine cone kiss noses kinds of results. Amazing. Sort of the mini Therify and with extreme programmability and flexibility, and can even run without the external iOS software. All kinds of announcements tonight about the piezofire.com. And this actually has been, about a year or two in the making, really. But I think we've been cooking on these ideas for a while. And I think, though, we're going to start with announcements here. Tufan has several exciting announcements, new exciting website, new event planning, and upcoming lecture. Tufan, do you want to do that?
Sure. Before we forget, next week we are meeting with Elisa Tiernan and Hannah Spence. We will talk about the Therify, Quantify Plasma experience, new insights, results, team reports, and Elisa and Hannah have extensive experience with working with kids. So it's going to be a fun class next week. And so we have a new website that I would like to announce. It's the planktuner.com. So basically, this is the golden ratio ruler, which has the Planck measuring capacity function here. And I just created a new website that has articles explaining the importance of the Planck scale and its resonance with the biological systems and the celestial systems. And other than that, we told you guys a couple of weeks that we have an upcoming conference, a new Fractal U conference that is going to take place in September this year. We are working on its logistics and its cooking. It's going well. Probably we will be announcing that very soon with Dan Winter. And these are all from my side.
Yeah, the conference plan is cooking beautifully. Tentatively hold September 27 for a major party in South France. We'll see. It's cooking nicely. We should have the details soon. So that's going to be a beautiful, fun time on the beach here, meeting old friends. So that is cooking. So tonight, the focus is going to be on this idea of a new way to make pine cones kiss noses, piezofire.com, in a way that is less expensive, more localized, highly concentrated, and amazingly effective. Years ago, we knew many friends who were using things like pairs of speakers, for example, and we had many reports that if this was done implosively, for example, really a prime example, hernia pain. So, hernia pain is generally very localized, and our friends who had been experimenting with it, if they got implosive sound and focused it between speaker pairs correctly, vibrators, you could do amazing things with things like hernia sound. And this appears to be confirmed with many examples. So we needed to develop this in a way which was perhaps most effective and least expensive. And remember, the essential idea here is that the compressional component of wavefronts, sometimes called longitudinal or scalar, is the only part that can actually achieve net centripetal force. Remember, symmetric compression is the opposite of pain by definition. It's pretty easy to understand that. And in electromagnetics, that is called the longitudinal component of the wave. Remember, sound waves, the majority of the inertia is longitudinal or compressional, but in most electromagnetics, the majority of the inertia is transverse and therefore not effectively centripetal. So how do you get the planar wave going towards center And so if you use something instead of a speaker cone, but which is more flat, in this case, a strong piezo transducer, and then use a super dielectric, in this case, shungite, which, remember what the function of a super dielectric in a phase conjugate mirror is, that because it's so permissive to the distribution of charge, literally capacitance, that it is the place where the implosion, the convergence of pine cones, as it were, can come to center permissively, and there can be the actual contact at the tip of the pine cones. So you need a very permissive charge distribution material, a phase conjugate dielectric, as in a phase conjugate mirror, shungite being a primary example of a super dielectric material, basically once very alive, very permissive to capacitance. So it's effectively a lens. So I've got the piezo transducer, and then I have a shungite lens. And then if that's done in a pair with a very accurate implosive cascade, and remember, Patrick has been on this case for many years, flameinmind.com and the Flame in Sound app. Now, one note about that, and this is only by way of intro to Patrick's more detail, is that of course, the Flame in Sound and Flame in Mind app has had this binaural sound for bliss available for many years. And we believe it still seems quite true to be one of the world's most powerful bliss binaural beat sound. You put the headphones on and, it is very powerful with or without Therify and with or without brainwave biofeedback. And it's quite inexpensive. But if you want to feed those harmonics in a way that's optimized for devices like coil and transducer, and this is Patrick's extensive research, that you use higher frequencies than you would normally feed to your headphones, which if you fed those higher frequencies to the bliss binaural sounds, you could have issues, for example, tinnitus and other things. So you don't use the higher frequencies when you're doing the normal bliss binaural. So you have a separate set of harmonics which use Plankfire, my implosion harmonics recipes, in a binaural cascade, literally a big pine cone kissing noses. But you also include the very higher harmonics, and that enables you to drive all these devices, Quantify, PiezoFire, plasmafire.com, 5vibes.com, piezofire.com. So all these devices are best driven with these, what we call coil and plasma drivers. And Patrick has done now is he's made these available for people who do not have iPhone, iPad, iOS handy by exporting them to basically simple MPEG files that you can play from anything, which means you can make all these choices about what chakra you want to trigger. And that's what's so cool about these things. Not only can you use the most implosive Therify-like implosion cascades, both piezo capacitively and bifiller Tesla coil inductively, but you can choose if you want to zap, and focus on the heart chakra, the crown chakra, or the base chakra. And I have felt this using Patrick's frequency recipes for chakras, using the plasma fire, for example. I felt when you play the heart chakra, you can feel it there. It's amazing. And the other thing is our incredible biodynamic scientist who is doing incredible amounts of testing of these things with us has confirmed that these devices also, in addition to the pain issues and all kinds of amazing ability to implode and create implosive compression, that you can use them to program crystals and seeds. And actually now we see almost certainly the bioactive essential oils. For example, we knew that Therify does a great job of potentizing CBD oil. It's amazing. It's so charged, and even water. And so now you can use devices which are much less expensive for all those purposes. We're very excited about this, and there's all kinds of things to say, but I have carried on too much. Patrick, I think, so Patrick is the real programmer behind all this. Remember, I came up with these ideas, but Patrick implemented, and the devil lies in the details. And Patrick has really dealt with the details in the software. And Patrick, I'm honored to introduce you and appreciate your help. Patrick Botte, please.
Oh, hello, everybody. I will share my screen. Maybe I can start sharing just tell me if everything is. Do you hear me quite well? Yes, clearly.
I'm hearing you fine, I think. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. And now you see my screen.
Yes. Part one.
Okay,
Audio.
great. So I will explain a lot of different things because as Dan has explained, there are apps which can drive different transducer, the different device that we have. But I think it's nice to make a new summary of everything because I have seen from the different mails that I'm receiving them, sometimes it's not quite clear because it started a long time ago with a lot of updates. And so I will make a few different parts in this presentation. The first part, I will explain a little bit about body rhythm and frequencies, and then the different ways that we can use to interact with the body. I will explain the different device. Again, a few explanation about the Fleming sound wave, about the cascade that we use, the beat and the shift, and then how to use a transducer. And finally, we will explain a little bit more about the new device, the piezo so the piezo and the coil device. And then, of course, as Dan has explained, we can now also download from a cloud some of the files which are generated with Fleming sound. But only for the people who are using our transducers. But I will explain in the last part how to download them and how to use them. So the first thing that we should know is that it's the origin of life. It's a pulsation. So the first thing that appears in the first organ is the heart. But this pulsation is also a sine wave, and that's what we have in HRV, which is the modulation of the blood pulses, and which can also be defined as a sine wave. We have also what is called the Mayo wave, which is also the sacrocranial wave, which is a variation of the blood pressure. And again, we have a sine wave, which is about 6 times per minute. And when you are quite healthy, you get the famous 0.1 Hertz peak in the spectrum, which is related to the coherence of the heart. And when we make the link between the HRV and the variation of the pressure of the blood vessel, it can be also, there is a relationship between the liquid component of the blood and the electric component. And so when we have this beautiful relationship, this beautiful phase correspondence, it's really related to the coherence of the heart. And also we have another liquid pump, which is in the brain, and which is the brain ventricles. And you see here the pump which is running, but too fast, because its emptiness is about 1 time per minute. And when we try to see what's happening inside the body, we have in a way we have one side we have the heart response, which are HRV, and also the variation of the blood pressure, which is a sacrocranial wave. But we have also a sine movement inside the brain wave. And we have the chance in the latest release of Fleming Mind app, now we can make the link between the heart and the brain. So now what's interesting to know is that, you know, the molecules, the organoids, the cells, the organs, the systems have different frequencies or different rhythm. And the more you are going to a very complex system, the more the wavelength will be a greater wavelength. And then we will talk about rhythm. And that's what Dan has explained about Dardig. Well, there are a lot of video explaining this. I will not come back to this now. And there are, in fact, different ways to define the different frequency which are related to the different part of the body. If you want to have more information about this, you can go to my YouTube page. And there are 2 conferences that I have done a couple of years ago and explaining all the different stuff, but I will not stay too long on it today. And in fact, the most interesting analysis of the different frequencies which are present in the body was done by Stéphane Cardinaux and Catherine Anne Martin in their book Structure Vibratoire, and which is you can find it on Amazon, and you can buy it or download it also. I think now it's also possible to download it on their web page. And if you go to the Fractal Field 2018, you will have a few slides of the book which were presented. And in fact, these, when you try to make the relationship between what's happening inside the body and the equation of Dan, you can see that there is a perfect fit between Dan equation and the different frequencies of the chakra. So that's the reason why we have used in our app, which are sending frequencies to the body, we have used the frequency of the cascade of Dan, but also the different frequency which were defined by Stéphane and Catherine. You see there are the different examples, and this is the equation of the different frequencies related to the equation of Dan according to Planck constant. So to summarize, there are 2 ways to interact with the body. The first way is to send the frequency which is related to a chakra or to an organ of the body. And what we are doing because we are using Dan cascade of frequency with a cascade of golden ratio frequencies. And this cascade of golden ratio frequency is very interesting because it's entering in resonance in a much effective way with the body when we are using a cascade of frequency related to the different body frequencies.
We would say also, a perfect charge collapse, perhaps, as well. Go ahead.
Yes, yes. And what we are doing also is the second way that we can use to enter in resonance with the body is also what I just explained. So HRV, the sacrocranial wave and the brain waves. So what we are doing is to use the frequency map of the body inside the cascade of Dan frequency based on golden ratio and Planck, and creating a movement between the 2 transducers, so the 2 plasma ball and or the 2 piezo device. And this movement is created regarding the craniosacral wave or the brain wave. So there are 2 things. One thing, we select a body which is related to some part of the body or the full part of the body. Like that, we can use the full cascade of Dan. Or when we select a part of the body, then we will make a movement because life is movement. So to stay too long time to a fixed frequency is it's better to make a movement. Well, let's say like this. So we have different device or transducer that can interact with the body. We can do it with sound. We can do it with vibration, we can do it with electricity and magnetism and plasma, and we can do it also with the piezo device. So the sound, as Dan explained, you see here it's a speaker vibrating at three times per second, 3 hertz. And this is creating a compression and a longitudinal wave. So you see here the movement of the wave, which is going away from the speaker, but it's a longitudinal wave. And then, in fact, we have, when we are using sound, one way to get the sound is to go through the tympanum and then to the internal ear, or we can go directly to the internal ear. You see there are some transducer here, which are transforming vibration in electricity for the nerves. And there are 2 ways. So you can go through the tympanum, so from the external sound, or you can directly with some specific audio device or vibrating device, you place them on your head, and then it's a vibration which is going directly to the internal ear and without through the tympanum. And so now we can talk a little bit about the piezo effect. In fact, it's when you have a crystal and you make a compression on the crystal, it's creating a voltage. And also in the other way, if you send a voltage to a crystal, the crystal will change its shape, so it will be compressed. And it's very interesting because when we are using these bone conducting headphones, well, there are some vibrations, but also there is a vibration on the bone, so it can also create some electricity. And now we have the small piezo device here. You see, this is the small speaker which is inside, how it looks like. So for electricity and magnetism, first of all, we have electricity with the old zapper, also the old Lakowski device, and now we have plasma device, we have piezo and coil device. You see that this is the piezo here, and here this is the flat coil. I will explain you more about this coil and how they are doing. So in fact, there is electricity and magnetism. So if we are measuring the electricity of the device, so we just take a scope and try to see what's appearing on the scope when we approach the probe to the device we are measuring. And even if there are LEDs with alternative currents, there is a pollution which is about 20 millivolts. If we are using the plasma fire and we go close to the plasma fire, we have a few volts. About 1 meter away, 2 millivolts. And for the flat coil, we have about 20 millivolts. So you can get a voltage on the scope. Now, if you want to measure the magnetic wave and the magnetic frequency, we can use a dynamic microphone, because the dynamic microphone, it is a coil which is moving around the magnet, and this creates a voltage. So if we are using this dynamic microphone close to the plasma fire or also close to the flat coil we are getting the response of the frequency we are sending. And well, here I want to show you a small part of the first rectal U that Dan has done this year, because most of the time, you see, I just mentioned it's a few millivolts, and so people may think it's not a very strong signal. but that's the way that I've placed here the extract of Dan conference of the first Fractal U, and you can watch it. It's at 1 hour and 6 minutes, and Dan is explaining much clearly than I can do that you don't really need a very high voltage or because the living things are the habit of receiving the Schumann frequency for living things. It's a tiny, very tiny amplitude, and so we are used to make the difference between low amplitude and high amplitude. But Dan will explain it better, much better than me.
But it's true. The Schumann cascade is electro-weak. So first, it is what you call infrasound, mostly sub-audible, below 20 hertz, infrasound. 2, extremely low voltage. When Bob Beck took a big pen and created a bit of static electricity with his hair, with the metal end of his big pen, and then vibrated that at 8 hertz, and the entire room had a wave of bliss. If he had done that at high amperage, it would not have worked. Only low voltage works, low voltage and low amperage. Your body is tuned to look for extremely weak implosion, and that tunes you to the universe. Your biology knows if the 8 hertz arise at high voltage, it ain't the earth singing. So biology will not have bliss. So biology needs a low voltage and a low frequency. The reason is the infrasound is very long wave. So we want to embed very long waves. Give you an example. We were measuring who were the best tree huggers. We had measured the low frequency of trees. Schumann get to predict which tree will survive. You can read about this at our life force measure, flameinmind.com/lifeforce. We were measuring which trees were getting Schumann harmonics. And then we measured which tree huggers could restore the low frequencies in trees. It's measurable, by the way. It's really fun. The ones who were best able to hug trees and feel the long wave repeatedly were those who had studied sacrocranial pulse, sacrocranial healing. You know, the sacrocranial practitioners feels the low frequency, very low, in your spine liquid pump and inserts their attention, increasing phase coherence inside the patient's low frequency sacrocranial. And therefore, because they could feel the low frequencies, they could insert their attention, increasing the coherence of the long wave low frequency. So,
okay. So now I will talk a little bit more about the flaming sound wave, because there are a few, well, not a few, a lot of different options. You know, since the beginning of the flaming sound app, there are a lot of updates, and it was first designed only for headphones and with chakra frequencies, and then we add the cascade of frequency of Dan, but again only for headphones. And so there are different parts of the different options related to binaural sound, but to be used with headphones or with bone conducted headphones. And there is another part which is called coil and plasma option. And this coil and plasma option should absolutely not be used with headphones, because it can be very disturbing for your ears. And also, what is very important, never use headphones cascade or headphone frequency for the coil and plasma device, because otherwise you will lose a part of the frequency that you need. So the size of the frequency cascade is completely different for your ears than for the coil and the plasma. So for your ears, if you increase higher frequency, it will be, as Dan is told, it would be very disturbing. And it can also be disturbing if you send frequency to the body and if you don't have the full cascade starting from your toes up to the top of your head. So be careful, please never use headphone frequency for plasma option and never use plasma option with headphones, because there are too many mistakes and people do not understand. I receive a lot of mail and the results are very bad if you don't use the app correctly. So about the binaural sound. So just to explain, this is an hearing test here, which was done in 1979. And that's normal that when you're getting old, well, your curve of hearing test is going down. And you see here in green, it's the curve of, the average curve, let's say like this, of a 60-years old person. And now if we do the same kind of test, it's crazy, because you see, it's a very, very, it's too high. So most of the person are very, very sensitive. So you have to be very, very careful with high frequency, because you are too sensitive with these high frequencies. And it is related to the EMF pollution, you're too many information. Really, really too many information. You cannot go in a big shop without music, and you're always receiving information. So you have to be really careful with high frequency sound. Regarding the binaural sound of Flaming sound, on my website there are free samples that you can download for free. So you just have to go to the web page with binaural sound, and then you click on it, something will appear and you can go click on it and download it. So there are free files that you can play on any kind of audio player. Now, the other option, which is the coil and plasma option, will be used to drive the plasma file, quantify, phi vibes, and the new device that I will explain. So again, never use with the 1 chakra, plus chakra, and therapy option. So there are, in Flaming sound, there are two ways to generate the sound wave. The first one is related to the cascade of Dan. Of course, it's always a cascade of Dan which is created. And these cascades are created in 3 different ways. 2 ways according to Planck and another way according to Schumann. And then we are inducing a movement, so a beat between the 2 channels, or also a beat and or a shift. It depends. So to explain rapidly what's a beat, so if you take the frequency of the second chakra, for example, which is 130, and then you increase this frequency by 0.1 hertz, it will create an interaction between the 2 frequencies, very close, and it will create a beat of 10 seconds, because 0.1 hertz is 10 seconds, 6 times per minute. So if you mix these 2 waves, the sound will come, disappear, will come, disappear, will come, disappear. And that's what is happening inside your brain. So there is a movement when you're using binaural sound. This is a movement which will be created in your brain. So from left to right. So the beat.
Remember, the 0.1 hertz is perfectly on the equation for implosion, and it's some primary frequency Mayer wave of the blood. So modulating your brain with the pressure wave of 0.1 hertz is a wonderful way to entrain the Mayer wave and heart coherence HRV, and it is the LF component, so it's the most important frequency in the body practically. So picking 0.1 hertz was powerful.
Yes, yes, and that's also, but I will explain more later, but in the files that you can download from the cloud, there is only one option for the beat, which is 0.1, because it is really linked clearly to your equation, much more than the other one. So so to create this movement between the two channels, we are using the brain ventricles rhythm and also the Mayer wave, so the variation of the blood pressure. So if you take, well, this is an example of one of the files that you will find of the cloud. This is the full cascade of Dan. And you see the movement between the left and the right channel and the result of the two channels interacting together. And the other thing that we are using is a phase shift between the left and the right. And when there is a phase shift, it's creating, when the two waves are entering in interaction one to the other. So there is some kind of 0 point, which is still point, which is appearing when they encounter each other.
That 180 degrees out of phase shift is how lasers conjugate. That's how they implode. It's how pine cones need to meet perfectly.
Yeah, you see again. That's what we see in the analysis of the file. So it's clearly the opposite, and when we zoom in, it's again. So as I just mentioned, there are 3 options regarding the cascade regarding Dan equation. So the first one was related to Planck constant, and then we introduced a second one. So cascade 1 was related to Planck constant, but cascade 2 also. But in fact, there are 2 ways to define Planck constant. They are very close to each other, but it seems that sometimes people catch in a different way the first cascade than the second one.
Patrick, we could be
yes,
a little more specific there. Just remember that the Planck constant as a length constant has only one calculation, but the Planck constant as a time constant can be calculated with or without what's called h bar, which is basically the circumference of the Planck as a circumference, h or bar. And so the h bar value of Planck time yields a slightly different cascade. And Patrick beautifully did some trials on this, and it does seem like that the h bar calculation of Planck time constant for a cascade is even more psychokinetic. So that was a very useful to insert the frequency cascade 2 option.
Yeah, it seems that, well, if I take the example of, let's say, the second chakra, if I'm using, well, if I send information to a very sensitive person and I ask the person, what do you feel? Most of the time with the cascade 1, she says, okay, oh, it's in this part of my body. And when we are using frequency cascade 2, it's a more tiny point. So they say, oh, it's here, it's this point, but very, very tiny point compared to the cascade frequency 1.
Very focused.
Focused, yes. I'm sorry for my English. Sometimes I don't find my words. So, and now it seems, well, this is what I think that is related to what we have lived this last year, and also probably due to the EMF pollution, which has increased a lot I don't know if it's everywhere, but here we can feel a very big difference. And they again changed the frequency a few days ago. And when they change the frequency, it's crazy because we don't sleep. And when we wake up, we don't have a mobile phone anymore. We have to wait a couple of hours to get it back. And so what's happening and what we have noticed is that it seems that we really need a cascade of frequency based on Schumann frequency, because cascade 1 and cascade 2 are very close to Schumann frequency, but not exactly the Schumann frequency. So what we have done, we have created a new cascade according, again, to Dan equation. So it's a cascade made of golden ratio, but this cascade is tuned to Schumann frequency.
Maybe, Patrick, just 30 seconds on that. Remember that the theoretical perfect Schumann would be about 7.29 hertz. But in fact, the actual Schumann is 7.83. If it was exactly a phase conjugate pump wave, times Planck. And yet we found that the 7.83 and not 7.29 cascades upwards. So for example, all the pyramids, they have a 53 hertz and not a 50, which is the same as the ratio of 7.29 to 7.83, which effectively means that the actual pyramids on this planet are tuned to a slightly modified, based on the actual Schumann, which is close but not exact to phase conjugate Planck, perfect implosive collapse. So basically, by retuning our cascade to the present Schumann, which is where the planet is now, we produce a bit more psychokinesis, perhaps.
Yeah, and it seems that people, for now, and it's changed since the first option that I have made in the app. Now people really, if you ask them to compare, they prefer the next option, which is a cascade related to Schumann. Yeah, it's crazy. And you mentioned the pyramids, but that's also what we have in the brainwave of the kids we can see without their eyes. Yeah. And also from Jean-Charles. So this 53 hertz, which is a cascade related to 7.83 hertz, yeah. And not to exactly to Planck, like you define. Yes.
It seems like we prefer to be tuned to where the planet is, almost perfect charge collapse, but at least what the planet is actually singing rather than the theoretical perfect.
Yes. So that's the reason why, well, as we have a lot of options and I cannot make the files in the cloud according to all the options, we have defined the cascade related to Schumann for the cloud. Okay, so and there is in the app Femin Sound Wave, we can create a sound wave with beat, with no beat, with shift and beat. So there are different options. And what is done also in this app is that you remember that I've said that the movement between the left and the right, so the beat was related on one side to the blood pressure variation, and on the other side to the brain ventricles emptiness. And so what we are doing with the app is to creating a compression by changing the beat during the session. But this is only available on the app, but it can be also created. Oh my God, what am I doing? Okay, it's also possible to create it with the file on the cloud. Okay, well, now one how to use the transducer. So we will talk about the 4 transducer here. So the plasma ball should be placed, well, let's say at least 1.5 or 2 meters away from each other. And they should be placed on left and right of the body, or in front and back, and never on the top of your head, one on the top of your head and the other one of your feet, because it's not working on exactly on the same way that Terrafy. Now, if you lying on the table, again, you place them on left and right, and on the left part of the and right part of the body where you want to interact with. If it's related to the full body, you place the 2 balls around the second chakra. It's nice, the second chakra. So that's what we have done with the plasma ball. You see, this is a very sensitive person, and the ball are placed one on the left and one on the right. And this was this experiment give a lot of good result, because we were sending frequencies and she can feel where we were sending the frequencies inside the body. Just to check, we have also sent frequency inside the room and then measuring the plant, and we were measuring with electrodes in the plant the frequency that we were sending with the ball inside the room. Yeah. We have made also an experiment with Stéphane Cardinot and his LVA device, which is recording it's almost like a GDV device. So it can record all the chakra of the body, and also can also make a recording of a group of different persons. And here we have made an experiment with the plasma ball and the full cascade of Dan. And we have made a recording before and after the use of the plasma ball. And this is, you see, this is what was the different chakra before the use of the plasma ball, and then after. So it's amazing. It's working really fine. And I made also,
Patrick, just to answer the questions that arose. So Patrick there was referring to plasmafire.com, the plasma balls, and there was a question: how did Stefan measure the frequencies of the chakras? That was related to his LVA device, right?
Yes, it's the LVA device. It's a device which is working, well, in a completely different way than the GDV, but giving the same result. So you with the GDV, you place your finger on a sensor, and the GDV creates your full aura and the different frequency inside your body. And from Stefan, it is the same thing. You see, well, I can see. Well, you just place your hand on a sensor which is connected to the computer. The computer makes a recording, and you can also, you see here, you can make a recording of a group of different persons. So they all place their hand on a sensor, and then the computer makes the recording of all of the participants of the experiment. That's what we have measured here. And this is the device of Korokov. So the BioWell Sputnik, which can measure what's happening inside the room. And again, we have a result before and after the use of the plasma ball inside the room. So
very cool.
Yeah, so the amount of photons inside the room, you see the difference before and after, and also the entropy is decreased. Also, this is the GDV experiment with the plasma ball. So we make a recording before, and then we send the frequency of the liver and the kidney, and then after a session of 15-20 minutes, we make a new experiment with the GDV, and so he recovered the part of the aura which was missing.
That's very impressive. You can actually address the liver.
Yeah. Well, now about the new transducers. So there are two different kind of transducers.
This is piezofire.com, piezofire.com.
Yes, this is the piezo, the new device. So the first device is a piezo device. So you see it's a flat piezo speaker, which is in the green part. And on the yellow part of the device, there is a shungite plate. Dan explained the reason why we are using shungite.
It's super dielectric, like a lens for the field.
Yes. And the coil device, which are blue. So the flat coil is in the blue part. And again, we have a shungite plate in the yellow part.
And that coil is very special. Patrick is going to explain. It's literally the patented bifiller Tesla coil of Tesla himself.
Yes, I will show it. So what, again, use it from the left and right part. If you are using both of them, use them on the left and right part of the body or front and back. It is exactly the same use as the vibrating device, the Vibes. Now, it's very important. You will receive a splitter that can transform the two channels, the stereo coming from the player, and that will split the two channels for two different cables. But be careful, always use the original splitter, because most of the one you can find on Amazon or in different shop are used for two lovers to listen to the same music. So it's not splitting the two channels. It's what the one you find in the shop. It's duplicating the two channels like that. The two lovers can listen exactly the same stereo music, which is not the case for us here. So if you are using two devices at the same time, use a splitter, but you can also use one at a time. And then, for example, one of the best things to do if you are using one is to place it on your back, to use the piezo, because the piezo loves the sacred ball. And you put it here on your lower back, and you can also have very nice result. Also, about people who have the plasma ball, never connect the plasma ball directly to the player, because you must always use the original splitter. And if you are using only one ball, use the original splitter, but only with one cable, but use absolutely the splitter, because it was designed like this. So, okay. What you can do also is to send the information inside the room. And it can be done with the plasma device or the coil device. You just have to buy, because it's not included, a shungite sphere. You can use the different size of shungite sphere. The bigger, you will see, the bigger the shungite sphere, the bigger could be the room in which you are spreading the information. And the rubber band, you have to place a rubber band just below the shungite sphere, and the rubber band is not included also. And so you can, what I'm doing very often is to sending frequency during the night. I make different chakra which are moving and turning through the whole night. And I place two spheres, one on the left on my bed and the other one on the right of my bed. And the results are really amazing, because it's really opening your mind, and also, so you can send the Schumann frequency. There are a lot of possibilities, but you can, through the use of this Shungite ball, you can really spread the energy and the frequency inside the room.
It saturates the room, and we'll be providing a link to suggested Shungite spheres on the website, so you can get them easily. And
Yes,
set them on a rubber band. It's very nice.
But it's not easy for now, because Shungite is coming from Russia. And so there are some countries in which it's not easy to get. But okay, so now about the flat coil of Tesla. So this is the patent of this flat coil, which is from 1894, and it's amazing because it is the same kind of technology which is used to charge your mobile phone, to charge your toothbrush, or for induction cooking. It is exactly this pattern of Tesla. And this is this kind of thing that we are using. Now, if you want to learn more about, so it's a bifiller coil. Huh? This is a marvelous video explaining and understanding, because what Tesla has done. It's very interesting. So you can watch this video
just to get a flavor of that. So effectively, being bifiller means it's literally implosive, but then being on a flat plane, it's going to project that field more as a flat projective, which is closer to longitudinal.
Yes, yes. So that's a result that we will have. We have made just to explain a little bit, we have made a lot of different tests to see exactly what was happening with this kind of coil, and this is the first one that we have built. You see, it's very, very simple, and in fact, it's amazing, because when we are sending a wave to the flat coil and using exactly the same flat coil to receive, this is in fact, what's happening here. It's a flat coil which is sending information to another flat coil which is inside the mobile. So what we are doing here, so we are receiving the information in the second flat coil, and we are sending it to the scope. And so we receive the wave, but if we place a shungite, the shungite has an effect, and it's reducing the amplitude of the wave. And it's quite interesting, because most of the people say that you have to place a shungite plate on your mobile just to reduce the EMF pollution. So it seems that there is an impact, but it's still working. It's amazing, but I will show you, I will explain you more. So if we are using our device, and we are measuring again with another flat coil on the top, and watch on the scope what's happening. So if we are using without the shungite, so the blue part, and we are receiving directly from the blue part, we have this kind of amplitude of the wave. And if we reverse it, so there is a shungite between, you see there is a 30% less of voltage, because what we are receiving here is voltage. But now, if we want to measure the magnetic field, we are using a dynamic microphone, which is, as I explained, which the coil is moving according to the magnetic field. And when we are measuring the response on the side of the coil and the response on the side of the shungite, it's less than 5% difference. So it's amazing. Huh? When you measure with voltage, you have a lower signal with the shungite and not when measuring the magnetic field. What we have done also is, as it is spinning normally, we should have seen something. So what we have done, we have placed a magnet sphere on the top of the flat coil, and you see on one side is turning clockwise, and on the other side is turning counterclockwise.
That's amazing.
And we have done the same thing here with our device, and with you, we have the same thing. To get this effect, it's amazing because it's only working at the Schumann frequency between 7 and 8 Hertz. It's really amazing. If you send another frequency, nothing is happening.
Patrick, this might be an appropriate point to answer a question that was just asked here about, could you please elaborate on what a pump wave is? You know, I think it was Bearden who first coined the term phase conjugate pump wave. If you look at the harmonic cascade, which is the Schumann cascade, it's phase conjugate impulsive tuning to Planck, and that could then, you're basically feeding an implosion wave to something like a crystal. And so a phase conjugate pump wave has the ability to reference through the implosive center. And in a way, I think that may be why the Schumann harmonic there delivers that spin better, because it can cascade through center, the 7 or 8 Hertz.
Yeah. So to measure also what's happening, as it is a piezo device. So the piezo device works in two ways, two opposite ways. In one way, it's a speaker, and in the other way, it's a microphone. So if we place one on the top of the other, we receive the frequency, the exact frequency that we are sending. And I have done it with the shungite and without the shungite, and we receive exactly the same thing. The most crazy thing, because I really wanted to, I've made some tests with shungite to see if it was reducing the EMF pollution on my brain waves, and so I have the idea. It was a crazy idea to check the piezo device with the Flame in Mind Life Force app, and to send the piezo device information in a big ball of shungite. And it's completely crazy because the Muse headband normally should receive electricity. This is what the Muse headband is measuring from your brainwave. And so here there is no electricity. We are just sending a movement of a crystal which enter in resonance with another crystal, but this other crystal, which is a shungite ball, is a supraconductor. And it's completely crazy because we are, when I just made some tests, well, here I'm using a very, very big shungite ball just to remove the EMF pollution on the right part of the Muse headband. And then I'm sending, you will see, I'm sending a frequency of 87 Hertz, which was, well, defined because it was easy to measure. It was not, it was completely away from all the other frequencies that can come on all of the other harmonics. So I'm sending an 87 Hertz, and looks what's happening. So there is a peak coming when I press play, and when I press stop, this peak disappears, but the 50 Hertz coming back. Up again, I press play, 87, and then I press stop, 50 Hertz is coming back. I press play again, up again, 87. So it's completely crazy because we are just sending, we are not sending any electricity or magnetism. So it's just the interaction between two crystals which are creating electricity. And we can measure it.
Remember that.
So
that
this is
Muse headset can see approximately 1 microvolt, so very weak electric field.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's a big peak, huh? I would love to make alpha peaks like this.
But and the fact that it inhibited the 50 hertz is interesting.
But it was 86 because it was in the middle of nowhere in the spectrum. It was easier just to avoid any interaction with any other frequencies. Okay.
So we should focus on them using the device here a little bit, if you have.
Yes. One more thing. Thanks to Shelley, we tested a lot the device this last month. It's amazing also related to the piezo device and the shungite that when you place them on the lower part of your body and you are using a sphere just above the two transducer, you can hear the sound. It's creating, you see when you move the ball, it's creating a sound.
Just lift that shungite up about 3 inches off of this. Yeah, just listen for a sec. Okay, you can put it back down.
As soon as it breaks contact, you can hear that humming.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
You see there is a sound which is coming, and it's crazy also.
But wherever piezo actually couples, it will connect the electric field to the mechanical sound.
Yes.
It's a coupling effect.
So now related to the pack regarding the piezo fire. So the pack contains 2 piezo transducer, 2 coil transducer, and the splitter to allow to use both of them. The pack doesn't contain the shungite sphere and doesn't contain the rubber band because regarding to the size of the sphere that you will buy, you will probably have to use a different kind of rubber band. So that's the reason why it's not included.
But remember that to use it for localized pain and directly in your body, you don't need the shungite sphere. The shungite sphere is just when you want to radiate to the whole room.
Yes. So you can use a single device or you can use 2 devices at the same time. Again, please only use the coil and plasma option of the app. Now, the piezo device seems to better interact with crystals and minerals, bones, stones, gems, crystals. It seems to reduce pain, and we have also incredible results with burned skin. So the piezo is much more related to musculoskeletal systems. Now, the flat coil device seems to better interact with liquids, but also with liquids including minerals. It seems to boost the stem cells, and they are more related to cavity organs like kidneys, stomach, intestine, liver, and reproductive system. But again, we have a lot of beautiful results with both of them. And you can use them if you are using 2 transducers on the body, so place them one on the front, the other on the back, or left and right.
Someone is asking, when would I just use a single or a double? In general, most applications here, 2 at once is best, I think, right?
Yes, it depends. there are a lot of possibilities. What you can do if you it's best, yes, effectively, to have both of them, to place them in front of each other. Well, if you have pain in your teeth, you place one here and the other one there. It's nice to use two of them. Now, it's also sometimes interesting to, well, or easier, let's say like this, to use one. And if you use one, but I will explain, you go too fast.
Sorry.
Wait, normally I should explain it in the next slide. But if you use one, the best thing is to use the piezo and to place it on the lower part of your back. And then if you have a small audio player or even your iPhone, you can place it on your lower back, and then you program the player or the flaming sound, and then you can walk with it. And like that, you can, during your walk or during doing something else, if you don't move too much, you can have it, because if you to have two of them, if you move, it's not easy. It's better to sit on a stool and to listen to what's happening in your body during the session. But sometimes it's nice also. You can just place one in your lower back, and like that you can move with the programming which is done through the player.
That's a good point. So if you want to move around and just one in the back, and you can still.
Yeah, sometimes it's nice that but also what is nice also, it's amazing, is to sense the frequency in a room, and also when you sleep, it's amazing. Sometimes if you want to be a little bit more grounded, here we are doing it each time that they are changing the frequency of the mobile phone. We are making using the lower frequency regarding to Schumann frequencies, and we spread it in a room, and it helped a lot.
Restore the Schumann, essentially.
Yeah, and a lot of people really need Schumann. When you play Schumann, they say, "Oh, they feel immediately something is happening. There's
A wave
a
of
missing
euphoria.
thing is coming back." Yes. Okay, so I was, yes, okay. So two transducer on the body, front and back or left and right, okay? Now, what you can do also is to mix a coil and a piezo. And in this case, you can put them in front of each other, but if you can, use them with a 90 degrees position. It's amazing, but it seems to have a better and a much better impact on the body. So you place one on your back, for example, and the other on your left or somewhere else in the body. Also, you can you see there are different possibilities. Yeah. And what is nice, and this is the reason why I propose to put the two different kind of transducer in the same pack, because it's nice also to do one day with the piezo, the other day with the coil, and another day with one piezo and one coil, and then to turn, because the body like to be surprised. So each time you surprise the body tend to do something. So it's nice also to change. It's the same kind of frequency that you're sending, but the way that the transducer will interact with the body will be a little bit different.
Patrick, maybe maybe we just do a couple quick questions just to make it
Yes,
flavor.
sure.
Yeah, but don't lose your place there. So just John De Simone is saying, curious as to possible application with migraine pain, especially of the menstrual variety. I don't know if we've tested much on headache or migraine yet with this. I don't know the answer. In theory, it should be useful for localized pain.
I have tested for teeth pain.
Aha,
For teeth pain, it's working.
aha.
But for migraine, I don't know. I
Uh-huh.
don't know.
You know, the teeth would be very piezo, so that kind of fits the story.
Yeah.
And Pete says, so would you guys say that the path to transcendence or enlightenment is followed by the coupling, the frequency cascade of our bodies, minds to the longitudinal array, using bliss as our guide? I mean, what we're saying is that bliss essentially is the ability to unpack into the array, and obviously you need to embed in what's making the array centripetal, which is Schumann effectively. So Schumann is the key to the brainwaves and bliss and the cascade. It's all the same. It means that it's a phase conjugate pump wave to central stillness. And being centripetal in a large array is pretty much a definition of bliss. But anyway, why don't you go ahead, Patrick, then? Sorry.
Okay. Okay, great. So yes, okay. Yes, now talking about the flaming sound used for this new transducer. So again, please use the coil and plasma option, and you can select a specific frequency. But what is really nice also is to use, you see these balls here, which are the therapy balls, are related to the chakra frequencies. And it's working fine also. So you can use any frequency, but it's nice also to use the chakra. So if you want to do something with the, well, let's say the diaphragm or the breast, you can use the closed frequency regarding to the chakra. So instead of using number 65, you can use 68, which is the chakra, which it's working fine too.
Remember, the breakthrough here is that all of these selection of frequencies for specific chakras and areas of the body, you had to have more expensive devices, plasma fire, or even quantify. But now you can do all this playing with the frequencies, specific parts of the body in a low cost, relatively low cost device, piezo fire, and you can get some of the similar localized effects like trigger heart, trigger which chakra you want.
Then, well, yeah, how to use. What is nice is to what I'm doing. Well, it's I'm using the only shift option, so without a beat for 30 seconds, 1 minute, and then I'm using the turning beat continuous option for a couple of minutes, and then I can, if I want to do, I can do it again. Or if I want to change the frequency of the chakra, for example, I select another chakra, I start again, and I start all the session with a shift only, which is in a way sending us a very strange and specific information with when the two waves are encountering each other, and then making a beat, some movement to create a movement inside the body.
Remember,
the
shift refers to 180 degrees out of phase, which is the heart of the idea of conjugating, imploding, and then later adding the beat, which in many cases is the 0.1 hertz, the Mayer wave, which is that perfect breath, basically.
Yeah, but when you're using the beat, there is an option with or without a shift. So that, in fact, in the app, there are a lot of options, but we will not allow the people to get all these different options in the cloud. We have selected the main part of the option.
Remember, in the cloud is the simple MPEG sound files you can play from anything.
Yeah, but I will explain. It's almost finished, and I will explain now how to use the cloud and how to create the files. So to answer to the question regarding one or two devices at the same time. So if you are using only one piezo, you can place it on the lower part of your back and then create a sequence of frequency, or well, and then you can move. You can, if you place it on the lower part of your body, normally you can fix it and you can move with it. But if you can also, of course, create this kind of sequence of frequency with two piezo. So that, like that, you can put another one in front of this one. So it's possible to use one, but you can also use two. And also when you are using a single piezo with a cascade of frequency, which is on the lower back part of the body, and if you're sitting on a stool, what is nice is to make a breath, with a specific breath, which is called the microcosmic orbit breath. So you start breathing, you breathe in while thinking you're going up, and then you breathe out going down as slowly as you can, and then you start again, breathe in, and you think you feel the breathing going up and up and up, and then feeling it going down and down and down. And it's helping a lot, because if you're doing a long session with only one part of the body, the back part, which is going up in your spine, it's nice also to make the energy moving inside the body.
Patrick, maybe should we do just a couple more quick questions just to?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. Would there be a mix of different crystals that are piezoelectric for dispersal? For example, quartz instead of shungite? I think the answer is the quartz could get charged locally, but for dispersing in the room, the shungite super dielectric is much better for the broadcast, whereas the quartz is just piezo. And then Green Wizard said, I did try the plasma fire with a head pain, and it did calm down a lot. Quote, thank you, Green Wizard. Summer said, what if we were to find the exact frequency hydroxyapatite, what teeth are made of, resides at, and actually use that frequency to vibrate toothbrushes? What a fine idea. Very cool. Interesting. And then Dan Mack is asking, is the Flame in Mind software being upgraded, latest upgrade info? Maybe Patrick will do that later here.
What?
He's just asking what features are changing in Flame in Mind. Patrick just upgraded Flame in Mind software, and he might review what those changes
Well,
were.
the last update of Flame in Mind was related to the connection between the lower brain wave related to the heart wave. So the relation between the lower frequency of the brain wave and the heart. Yeah, what I display in the beginning.
The ability to actually graph the heart's low frequency with the brain's low frequency. That's new in Flame in Mind, and it's amazing.
This is the latest updated that I have done. Yes.
Thank you. Greg said, I do not see these new piezo devices on the website. Remember, the new website is PiezoFire, P-H-I-R-E, piezofire.com. That's where the piezo devices are. And next question was, in related to cognitive impairments such as dementia, is there an application or research done? We could say anecdotally only, the Therify, the rather high power plasma, there are quite a few anecdotal reports of helping people with things like Alzheimer's, et cetera, and potentially then with some of the other plasma devices. With these devices, I don't know. We certainly can't make medical claims. Probably, what would you think, Patrick, or that you could help somebody?
We have to check. It's also the question was regarding shungite and quartz. we are starting to try to measure with quartz inside instead of shungite. But well, we are working on it, so we will see. We are making different kind of tests and try to improve and see. Maybe we can have different response also. That's the reason why I've explained and I've tried to make a lot of different way to measure this device is just to help us to improve it or to change things, and we'll see.
Remember, with the cold atmospheric plasma devices that verify, quantify plasma fire, it's fairly well known that and measured even that reduced inflammation, increased circulation, increased nervous innervation. It's, enough anecdotal reports to suggest with these piezo and flat coil devices, there is certainly implication that we could help in those situations as well. But those kind of tests are just beginning, basically.
Yeah, with the plasma ball on the blood, there is a marvelous response when the blood cells are packed, and you make a 20-minute session of the plasma ball. The blood cells are free again, but I never made. I don't have the time and the opportunity to check this kind of thing with this device. And
you will see the live blood cell results at plasmafire.com and also at therapy.net. So, but anyway, please continue, Patrick. Thank you. Sorry to interrupt.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Well, I already explained. What is nice to clean a room is to use the full chakra cascade of Dan. It's quite amazing. I was using it with the plasma ball before, and now I'm using with the shungite sphere also. It is also very interesting. I talk about Stéphane Cardinaux and Catherine Anne Martin about the book of the frequencies, but in fact, Stéphane with his LVA device can also receive the frequencies of different organs or different places, like beautiful church, beautiful place. And you can download on his website a few examples of, well, these are, well, it's not very expensive, but you have in each of these albums, you will have a lot of different files regarding the organs, regarding the chakra, or also regarding special place that you can play in your room. And it's amazing. It's really working fine. So I want to mention that
with the piezo.
Yeah, and like you can use the coil or the piezo device just to spread this energy in the room, or use these two album of files, but it's a mono audio files. So you have to use a single device, or if you use both of them, you will have exactly the same. You will not have the movement, the beat movement or the shift. Now, about the Flaming Salt files in a cloud. So if you have any of these devices, so a plasma fire, vibes, or this new piezo and coil device, you just send me a... Sorry?
Or quantify. If you bought the quantify through us, or the plasma fire or piezo fire, if you bought them through us, then go ahead. Yes, sorry.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Then you send me a mail, and I will send you the link to the cloud, and also a few documents explaining how to use.
And the cloud contains a nice selection of audio files. You don't need iOS to run those. You can play all these different devices with simple MPEG files. It's amazing. Very convenient.
No, it's WAV file. So it's the normal. It's not MPEG, because MPEG is reducing a lot the harmonics.
I'm sorry.
And, so this is it's well, it's better to use this kind of files because MPEG are reducing a part of what we are creating.
Yeah, the MPEG, you lose the audio resolution spectral response. So the WAV file gives you more accurate. You didn't lose the audio resolution during compression. So the
Yes,
WAV files
yes.
can implode more accurately.
Yeah. And so there are a library of very small files. And what I will do now, I will explain you how to download this file and how, with the use of a free app, which is called Audacity, which is a sound wave generator and a mixer and like that, you can create your own file while putting together all the options that I've placed in the cloud. So you will see, when you go to the cloud, you will have a few folders. For now, there are two big folders, but I will try to update and improve a little bit with new kind of frequencies. And when you go to the folder, you have another other folder with shift option, without shift, and also with for one chakra, for the first chakra, for the second chakra, etc., etc. So each, in fact, what we have selected, because we have to choose, it was impossible to create all the files, all the possibilities from Flaming Sound. So we have used the cascade of Dan related to Schumann, so to 7.83. We have created all the frequency of the different chakra, again related to Dan equation. This is one option. The other option is the cascade of Dan, but the cascade of Dan again related to Schumann frequency. So each time you go to the cloud, you will have a PDF file explaining the different options that you can select, you can download. Here you see the Schumann cascade, which is called Shu, and the chakra 1. And then you have different options. You can have a beat and shift, you can have only shift, you can have only shift, and then the last part of the record will be a beat. So for example, this one here is the first chakra during 2 minutes. And the first minute is only shift, like I explained before. Then 1 minute, you will have the beat and shift from 0.16 to 0.022 Hertz. So it creates a compression. And then you can ask your player to repeat it, or but I will show you how to create your own file.
Maybe we just do the questions as they go by quick. So Jan Her saying, can use the piezo device with my Android phone. That's the whole point here, is that by putting these as audio files, you no longer need iOS, iPhone. You can just play simple WAV files from any device like Android. And
yes.
Next question was, I have Rife's frequency books for EM wave. Can I still use those frequencies on PiezoFire? Remember, you can play any audio file into PiezoFire, so you can try it, actually. You could try some Rife frequencies.
Yes, sure. Yes, and that's the reason why, because we had a beautiful exchange with Stéphane Cardinaux and Catherine, and I know and I'm convinced they are making really beautiful files, and I have tested most of them personally. So you can also use other files. I recommend you this file because I've tested them personally, but you can also use Rife or any other kind of waves.
Pete is saying, I miss where Patrick said where to download. Remember, Patrick will send you the link for the cloud audio files, but you would demonstrate that you've purchased one of our devices, because that's the place where they're intended to be useful.
Yes, please. Yeah, that's the reason why we are not giving a direct access, because it can be very disturbing to use this frequency with audio files.
In other words, you don't want to play these in just a headphones. They're not designed.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Yes, with headphones.
Right.
So we must be sure that they are very powerful with this device, but not with headphones.
Yeah.
Or other device.
So they're designed for quantify, plasma fire, piezo fire, and 5 vibes, basically. Yes.
Yes. So you see, if you download, you have a PDF file, and so you can download the PDF, and we'll explain you the different explanation of the different files that you can have. And so there are two. For now, there are two folders, one which is related to chakra, and the other one which is related to the full Dan cascade.
Pure implosion.
Yes. Now, I will explain you how to do. So you have to download on your computer. I think it's also working on other device, like phones or pads, probably. I think that it is available on a lot of different kind of device. But what I will show you is how to use it with a computer. So you download the app, which is called Audacity, which is a free app. And once you are in this app, first of all, you go First of all, you go to the cloud with the link that I have sent you, and you download the file that you're interested with. Okay, so what I will show you now, I have downloaded 7 files here, which are, each file is related to a chakra. And what I will create a big file sending information to the first chakra, and then waiting for a blank part of 20 seconds, 30 seconds, it depends, and then start with the second chakra, and then with the third, and go up to the 7th chakra. Okay, so what I'm doing now, I'm in this app, which is called Audacity, and I will go. I'm sorry, it's in French, but it's quite simple. You will see. So you go to the file, and you open the file. So I'm going in the audio part, in the folder when I have download, and I select the first chakra. And this is the first chakra for 1 minute. You see, it's the time base here. Now I'm copying it, I'm selecting it and copying it. No, I know it's the first time I'm redistributing. What I will do, I'm sorry, I will create a blank between this first part, and which is the first chakra, and the next part that I will download. So I will create a blank. I place the blank close to the first chakra. Now I open a file again. I select the second chakra file. I select it, and now I copy it, edit, copy, and I paste it. I paste it, and I move it close to the previous one. And then we do it for the 7th chakra. So I will go a little bit at the end. You see, I have downloaded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm doing now the last blank part between the different chakra. And what I have to do now this is very important, it's to export. You really need to export, not to save. With this app, when you select save, it will save you the different things that you have done while using the app. So to create an audio file which can be used, you have to select export. And select export, well, the best way is to create a WAV, not MP3, because if you create an MP3, you will lose part of the harmonics inside the file. So you select.
Remember that Patrick is doing this to show you how to create your own file. You can play the ones from the cloud directly and use them and loop them and have lots of fun. But if you want to create your own custom files, for example, looping through all 7 chakras, he's just showing you how easy that is. Right? Is that right, Patrick?
Yes, yes. But also that, well, if you can also use the first chakra and make it turn and turn and turn. But the best way is to create something which is moving inside the body. It's much more interesting. But you see, it takes 1 minute just to create a file. So I just asked to export. I can do it again. So you export. The best way is to export in WAV.
Yeah.
And then you give him a name, and then you save. That's all.
This is
it's done.
Just if you want to make your own custom files, but you can use the files on the cloud directly, of course. Just use a lot more flexibility to create custom ones and longer ones to play. But remember, you can loop them in your own player, so you have a lot of choices.
Yes.
Patrick, we're probably getting a little running toward the end of our time here. Did you have anything else?
It's done, Dan.
Oh,
if I'm open to question, but for me it's done. I think, yeah.
Yes. So there's comments here about
maybe I can stop sharing screen because yes. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So,
yes.
I think we want to give Patrick a big round of applause for all the homework you did, Patrick. Really.
Yeah.
But the basic fact here is you now have a powerful device, piezo and Tesla coil device with the Shungite lens effect that you can use for hundreds of different applications, from zapping pain to triggering a chakra to filling a room to charging crystals to charging seeds. It's even been tested in crystals and seeds by Laurent, and for charging essential oils, for example. So all these things that you needed much more expensive toys for before are now available to you with the relatively low-cost piezofire.com system. And this has been a dream for us to make this available to a larger number of people. Patrick personally worked with us to make this economic in a way that we could reach a larger number of people. And so we're delighted to offer this, and Patrick is there, and I both, and Tufan as well. By the way, Tufan, we should give Tufan a applause here. He's actually building these with Patrick's instruction. So we have several heroes on the scene here this evening. So,
and we have to thank Shelley also again because for her feedback. Because it was very interesting and very nice to have her feedback since a few months now. She's testing the.
Thank you, Shelley. Yeah. Thank you, Tufan. Thank you, Patrick. Any final questions or thoughts, Tufan? Did you have anything you want to suggest?
Sure. Will one need to repurchase Flaming Mind for upgraded versions?
The latest Flame in Mind upgrade, if I understood Patrick, was where he implemented the ability to see the low frequency of the heart and the brain and trained. And
no,
go ahead.
No, I have to check, but no, I think the latest one was with the update of the Schumann frequency.
Oh, I see. Where you put the Schumann
sure.
In the cascade. And about how many months ago was that, Patrick?
I can check down.
But I think it's on
the website.
It's only a couple of months. So the bottom line is you go to the App Store, and if you own Flame in Mind or Flame in Sound, you just click update. It's very simple. It's free.
Yeah, but normally yes, but normally there is also an update, apps update on my website. I will check. I hope that Flame in Sound update. Yes. Oh, to drive.
Was what I think that was
No, no.
within a couple of months you did the last
Sound
upgrade,
in my
right?
I think August, I think. Maybe I can check.
Well, that's okay.
August 22. No,
Yeah. So if you
no. There should be another update. Yeah, maybe as you said down, it's easier to go to the Apple Store.
it's free. If
but,
you own
but
the app,
it's
go to
free,
the App
and
Store.
the latest version. I can check the number of the version. Just
For Flame and Sound or Flame in Mind. It's really very simple. So if you go to the App Store, and if you get a message to update, then you know you don't have the latest version. It's very simple, really. And
yes. I can check.
Yeah, it just takes a. And then lastly, Patrick, we should make the announcement to be clear. Flame in Mind and Flame in Sound now run on the Mac, as long as you have one of the newer Macs with the M1, M2 chip, which is the last 2 or 3 years now. So if you have the M1, M2 chip in your Mac, you can for free, effectively, if you own the app.
Yeah, I forgot to explain. Yeah, and what's amazing is that you can run the different apps at the same time.
Yeah,
with the same sensor.
Yeah, you can
if you have iDrive with a PPG sensor, and or with the Polar chest strap, and you are using a Flame in Mind with the Muse headband, just only one Polar chest strap is used for both apps, because the Mac is splitting the information from the Polar chest strap to the iDrive and to Flame in Mind.
It's amazing. So when you're running the Flame in Mind on the Mac, you actually have more opportunities to run multiple apps, HRV, iDrive, and Flame in Mind Brainwave at once, and see the low frequencies from the HRV on both at the same time. So you get interesting flexibility by running Flame in Mind on the Mac. It's amazing. So kudos.
But you really need the latest chip of the Mac. Yeah.
Well, I'm using it on my M1 chip Mac or the M2. So actually, they've had the M chips out for almost 2 years now or something. So it's amazing. You can run. You don't have to have iOS. It's amazing. And if you want to play these implosion sounds with no Mac at all, you can just use the cloud from Patrick and power your devices that way. All right, guys. Well, it's getting late. Any final thoughts, Tufan, Patrick, anybody? We had fun.
We have some questions, but I don't know how we are doing about time.
Well, go ahead. If you see any fun ones, go ahead, Tufan, please.
Are these special plasma balls?
Yeah. Well, remember, plasmafire.com is using noble gases, similar to Therify Quantify, at much lower cost, and can feed, because it's battery powered, where you can use it in the woods, which is fabulous, also is able to feed the even lower frequencies below 20 hertz. Patrick can get down to 1 hertz in the Plasmafire, and the Plasmafire just has new live blood cell results. So plasmafire.com is a real viable option to noble gas plasma implosion devices at lower costs with lots of implications. So,
and that's the reason why I'm asking to use in the app the correct option, coil and plasma, because we are going down to 1 hertz.
Yeah, which is amazing.
And much higher than with the headphones, but we are going very low. Yeah. And it's amazing because when you need, when you're receiving this field, you really need the lower frequency of the body, which are your tooth, and your tooth is 1 hertz. And if you don't receive this information, you lose your grounding.
Yeah, remember, your spine liquid is operating mostly in sub 20 hertz. And so most simple audio devices that are depending on external audio can't feed the real low infrasound, whereas Plasmafire, being battery powered, is able. So it gives it all kinds of useful properties. Next question, Tufan.
Patrick, have you used live blood analysis in conjunction with one of your devices to show what it does to the blood?
Well, okay, so maybe I could say the live blood cell analysis, thanks to our biodynamic scientists, is extensively displayed for therify.net, live blood cell results, and extensively displayed at plasmafire.com. The plasma balls have amazing live blood cell results tests. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I have a dark field microscope, and I have made a lot of tests. And yeah, plasmafy can unpack the blood cells, really, really. Sometimes when it's very bad, you need a few sessions, but it's working. Yeah, you really see a beautiful impact.
For
So-
example, declumping,
Yeah.
Rouleau. Go ahead, Tufan.
Is there a piezoelectric effect on the shungite? I think you already explained this.
Well,
This must
see,
be-
what we
yeah.
believe is the shungite is a permissive media in which the electrical geometry, essentially capacitive, of the piezoelectric speaker is able to be mixed efficiently, where the heterodyne can go to completion, implosion can happen, exactly the way superdielectrics are the key part of a phase conjugate mirror. It's where the pine cones can kiss noses because charge distribution is efficient, which means charge distribution. So we use that as a lens for localized effect if you have a spot on the body for pain, or if you want to broadcast it for the whole room, then you put the shungite sphere, which is a broadcast. So super dielectric is charge distribution efficient. That's the point.
It's a superconductor of electricity without any resistance. So you take an ohm meter, and you measure the resistance of the shungite ball. You place the two probe on each side of the shungite, and you have zero resistance. And this is the way to check if it's a good shungite or not.
And
if you have 0 ohm, it's a perfect shungite sphere.
And the thing is that is also implicate for broad spectrally. It means there's low resistance to high frequencies and low frequencies. It's very interesting what a super dielectric means, but it's getting late. Go ahead, Tufan.
Is it still possible to purchase the empathy trainer? Any updates on that?
Realheartcoherence.com does still offer the 2-channel EKG analysis, which is what can be called an empathy trainer because you can link 2 persons' heartbeats. There's an advance on that coming out soon. Stay tuned because Medrick DeGoy's presentation in a few weeks here at fractalnew.com is going to be announcing a whole new series of devices in this regard. You can see a little preview of that at his new Planckfire website showing Planck harmonics, many more Planck harmonics at elfie.link, and his EKG trainer is going to be coming out, and we're going to be teaming up and having lots more fun with empathy training. So more to come on that.
Can we say a pump wave is analogous to a carrier wave, or is a pump wave more analogous to the first domino cascading in a series of dominoes?
You know, again, there are many. The term pump wave is so vague and broad; it's not highly specific. However, the context within which Tom Bearden coined the term phase conjugate pump wave, for that, visualize the caduceus, how you make a fire crystal work, how you make gravity. Basically, that means you're feeding an implosion-shaped wave, and which enables phase conjugation, which is to say enables implosion. So the most beautiful example of that is the subject of my talk in a few weeks on how pyramids make global wireless power, which is the Schumann harmonics are one of the best phase conjugate pump waves there is. And if you tune a pyramid to that, they implode the transverse and spit out longitudinal and stabilize gravity. So we're going to return to that question when we talk about gravity diodes in the pyramid in a few weeks.
With the 3 teraPhi cascades made for headphones, Are there different situations, intentions that you recommend using one over the other?
Well, as Patrick explained, so the original is called Cascade 1, which is pure Planck time times golden ratio cascading. And then the second is frequency cascade 2, which is Planck time, but calculated with H bar, which tests showed produced even more bioresonance and more effect. And the third, now we've modulated that optionally to retune the cascade from where the theoretical 7.29 to the actual 7.83 of where the planet is ringing with the Schumann cascade very close. And that is even more psychokinetic. And Patrick is saying that the final one, the Schumann retuned cascade, is probably the most psychoactive here for most applications, actually. And there'll be more discussion on that to come.
For your chakra example, where would you place the two piezos? Would you incorporate Chinese medicine points or meridians?
Can be you can place, you can use the coil or the piezo on some point. Yeah,
On the
yes.
meridians, yes. You can put it on
Meridians, yes,
yeah.
yeah. It's amazing, yes. And
basically, you got a sweet spot between two gizmos, and wherever you want to feel the tickle, just line up the gizmos, and there's a sweet spot, and you'll feel the tickle. It's amazing.
yeah. And you can place one on one point and the other on another point to make the connection again on this meridian which is lost. Yes,
like a circuit. It's getting late, maybe too fun. Last question. Huh?
Last one. Is there a sense to this? Like with the Terafy, that there is self-organization to the point that the frequencies act as a plasma pet, or is this too low power localized for this effect? Maybe with the Shungite sphere.
Yeah, Patrick, remember when we said that when you set something like Terafy, or I think Plasma Fire up in a really good environment, lots of nature, then eventually the plasma cloud in the room becomes like your pet kitten, and it keeps going and it goes to hug whoever it likes. So the plasma cloud does become self-aware. Now, whether you get a plasma cloud that becomes self-aware with the piezo fire and a Shungite sphere, I don't know, Patrick. I don't, for example, Patrick, would you say that when you set this up with the Shungite spheres overnight, and then after you turn it off, there's still a residual effect in the morning?
yes. And you can have it also with the plasma ball when I was used to send your cascade of frequency to clean a room, as I explained. It stays for a while,
yeah.
But unfortunately, it can be lost in a second if you open your television.
Exactly. That's the point. You see, if the environment in the room is really conductive, like if you've got a stone circle, a circle of trees, or you're in nature almost completely, that field is going to hang around and talk to you. But as soon as you turn on your TV, that's the point. That is the point.
It's immediately, huh? It's completely crazy. Yeah. And
so,
you feel it.
And you know, elementals and nature spirits are almost the same. I think when you turn on your TV, the elemental and nature spirits go also, unfortunately.
And it's crazy because it's not the screen.
No, it's electrostatic.
If I disconnect the TV receiver, let's say like this, and I just open the blue screen, it's okay. But as soon as I connect the receiver of
signal source,
the movies, and immediately poof.
It's something about
the frequency which is destroying everything. Yeah,
it's similar to why a large piece of metal is going to kill an elemental. It's because a large piece of metal will kill the negative ion wind that was healing your cancer as well. It's interesting physics, which basically means implosion requires the cloud to float. And so even when your cat comes next to you and runs its motor to heal you, if there's a big piece of metal there. But I think we had fun, guys. This has been wonderful. Thank you, Tufan. Thank you, Patrick. Patrick, you're a hero. Thank you.
Thank you all.
We'll
We
say
have a happily ever after.
And thank you, Tufan, because Tufan has made a beautiful job also.
he's building them. It's all good.
I'm excited to be a part of this
Yeah,
thing.
the result is really beautiful.
It's
Yes, yes.
working. Yep. So piezofire.com, it's out there, guys. It's fun. And we're here to support and help all kinds of questions and answers and more dialogue to come. And see you next week. Thank you. Blessings.
All
Blessings.
right, see
Bye.
you guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
We had
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
fun.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Thank you.
Thanks for your
See you
patience.
next week.
Thanks for your patience. Bye-bye. Toodles.